How are local school districts funded? I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me is Pennsylvania State Representative Seth Grove. Thanks for being with us.
Always great to be on.
Let's first of all talk a little bit about the current funding mechanism for school districts. How does it break down?
They get, depending on where you are, you get local funding. They have property taxes, EIT, a couple of nuisance taxes, and then the state actually gives them roughly about $9 billion in our education budget, which is distributed every budget season. Obviously, we had the start of our budget season in February, and part of the problem is the school districts are on the same fiscal year. So they're looking to get their budgets done as we're looking to get ours, and it's an unknown quantity how much school districts will get from the state throughout the budget until we're finalized.
So districts, as they're putting together, working to finalize their budget, then have to wait a period of time to find out what they're actually getting from the state level?
Yep. Usually we're done June 30th, and that's when their budgets have to be finalized. Every state budget year, we always include implementation that allows school districts to reopen their budget after they close on June 30th to account for state funding, whether it's higher or lower, depending on what happens. It's pretty crazy to think if your employer says, you know, we're going to pay you, but you won't know until your check comes in the mail. Could be more, could be less, but you're going to have to wait and see. It's tough for them to budget properly, especially dealing with how critical education funding is.
As such, you are talking about a dedicated funding source for districts, and you actually want to dedicate a percentage of the personal income tax for education funding. Why do you think that this, as a funding mechanism, would be a good idea?
We actually used to do this with the sales tax. We had a 4% sales tax back in 1953. The General Assembly raised it twice at the current 6%. That extra 2% was actually dedicated to education funding. And while this isn't calling on increase of taxes, what it did is allow inflationary growth year to year for school districts and let them plan accordingly. Every month, our Department of Secretary of Revenue comes out with budget estimates. So month by month, school districts can track how much money we're going to get. Now, the personal income tax is a lot flatter. It's a larger chunk of our budget. So to me, for their budgeting purposes and ensuring they do get inflationary increases year to year, it's a better fit for that.
Rather than the sales tax.
Rather than the sales tax. So school districts moving forward will know better about what they're going to see in increases throughout the budget. And that's a bare minimum. Obviously, if the General Assembly wants to appropriate more, we can. But having that dedicated funding will eliminate the need for them to raise taxes locally for inflationary costs. It'll also help them, obviously, budget better by knowing a better guesstimate about how much they'll get at the end of the day.
Would this take dollars away from other areas when it comes to how the dollars from the personal income tax are allocated?
Obviously, we make those decisions at the end of the day. Every budget year, there's always a fight. I know when we meet in caucus, and this is bipartisan, whenever the budget sheets come out, we always look how much are our school districts getting first and foremost. Education is that critical in Pennsylvania that I think moving forward, it's a perfect opportunity to ensure when we look at those budget spreadsheets, there's an inflationary increase at minimum year to year for our school districts.
And we just have a short time left, but this is just one of a series of pieces of legislation related to education.
Yeah, obviously we need to reduce costs. The governor's called for a mandate waiver program, reinstitution of that to allow school districts to waive costly state mandates at the local level also.
Thanks for being with us.
No problem.
We've been talking with Pennsylvania State Representative Seth Grove. I'm Jill Horner.